The story begins with the world-famous doctor, Kanji. Ever since his sister passed away from an incurable disease, Dr. Kanji resolved to dedicate his life to creating a medicine that could cure any illness. After years of rigorous study and hard work, he finally became a renowned doctor. True to his promise, he embarked on a mission to develop a universal cure. Dr. Kanji was so engrossed in his work that he often neglected basic self-care, including proper meals and rest. As a result, he became frail and weak. One day, completely exhausted, he decided to take a 40-minute nap. Setting an alarm, he collapsed onto a couch and fell asleep. However, when the alarm went off, Dr. Kanji didn't wake up. He had died, possibly from sheer exhaustion or his frail health. The next moment, when his eyes opened, he found himself in an entirely unfamiliar place. Standing near him was a beautiful girl, addressing him as Pharma. Bewildered, Kanji couldn't comprehend what was happening. As he got out of bed, he noticed that his body felt much weaker, smaller even. Looking down, he realized he had physically transformed. The girl, his apparent maid, scolded him for being reckless and mentioned that he had been struck by lightning, leaving him in a coma for several days. Shocked, Kanji replied, "Lightning? Really? I don't remember anything." His maid handed him a mirror, and when he saw his reflection, he froze. He was no longer himself. He was in the body of a 10-year-old boy named Pharma. Although he couldn't recall anything about Pharma's life, he vividly remembered his previous life as Dr. Kanji, the doctor who had dozed off only to wake up in this strange new reality. Pharma's back began to ache, prompting him to ask, "Can I remove my bandages?" The maid quickly brought warm water. As Pharma removed his clothes, he noticed a strange mark on his body. Seeing this, the maid grew visibly frightened. Pharma reassured her, saying, "Don't worry. Maybe it's just from the lightning strike." The maid, however, dropped to her knees and began praying fervently, saying, "This is proof that the god of medicine has blessed you." Pharma was astonished and asked her to explain more about what she meant. The maid, introducing herself as Lotta, responded, "Don't tell me you've forgotten about the god of medicine, whom your family has worshipped for generations." Pharma thought to himself, "I know so little about this new life. I need to choose my words carefully." He asked her politely, "Could you explain everything to me in detail? I'm feeling a bit confused." Lotta began by introducing him to his family's history. She explained that his family was part of a prestigious lineage of royal pharmacists, responsible for creating medicines for the royal family. She showed him family portraits and shared stories of their magical abilities. Pharma, intrigued, asked, "Wait, does that mean I can use magic too?" Lotta, startled, warned him, "Don't even joke about forgetting how to use magic. If anyone finds out, you could be banished from the town. Promise me you won't tell anyone else about this." She then informed him that he was particularly skilled in water magic and encouraged him to start practicing immediately. Later, we see Pharma sitting alone in his room, attempting to practice magic. He focused intensely, visualizing the molecules of water in his mind. To his astonishment, water suddenly materialized in his hands. Shocked and excited, he realized he had successfully summoned water but lacked the ability to control it. Panicking, he flung the water out of the window. Unbeknownst to him, Lotta was standing outside and noticed the incident. She quickly realized that Pharma had regained his ability to use magic. However, Pharma's curiosity only grew. The discovery sparked a restless determination within him, pushing him to explore the limits of his newfound abilities. Pharma began to imagine molecules in even greater detail, experimenting with creating different substances and erasing them with his other hand. Lotta then took him to the library and remarked, "You've already read all the books here." Pharma picked up a book, and despite the language being unfamiliar, he somehow understood it perfectly. Later, during a family dinner, Pharma's father greeted him warmly, saying, "It's good to see you healthy again, my child. But as promised, I'll ask you some questions now." His mother interjected, "He's just recovered. Can't the questions wait a little longer?" Pharma reassured them, "It's fine, I'm ready. Please go ahead." To everyone's surprise, Pharma smoothly answered all of his father's questions. Impressed, his father declared, "Now that you're well, you can resume your training." Hearing about training left Pharma slightly confused, but he agreed anyway, having no idea what this training entailed. He was soon introduced to his personal tutor, Ellen, who specialized in teaching magic. Ellen was immediately suspicious of Pharma's behavior. Previously known for being careless, he now appeared much kinder and more focused. Pharma explained, "The lightning strike must have frozen parts of my memory. I don't remember much." This explanation seemed to calm her down. Ellen decided to test Pharma's knowledge of divine arts. When she asked about it, Pharma had no idea what she was talking about. Recognizing this, Ellen began explaining the basics of divine arts. To give him practical experience, she took him to a riverbank for training. "All right, take out your magical staff," Ellen instructed. Pharma hesitated. He didn't even know he was supposed to have a magical staff. Thinking quickly, he responded, "I forgot to bring it today." Ellen sighed and handed him her own magical staff, saying, "Here, use mine. But first, let me demonstrate." She performed a spell to show him how it was done. Watching closely, Pharma attempted to replicate the spell. What happened next shocked them both. Pharma unleashed a dangerously powerful magic far beyond what was expected. Ellen froze, startled by the intensity of the spell, realizing that Pharma's abilities were anything but ordinary. Ellen was visibly shaken by the overwhelming power Pharma had displayed. To gauge his magical abilities more accurately, she handed him a special staff, designed to measure mana levels. However, the moment Pharma channeled his magic into it, the staff shattered into pieces. Ellen was left horrified, realizing that such immense power could only belong to a god or a demon. A while later, the two of them sat on a bench in a garden. Ellen still seemed frightened, and Pharma tried to lighten the mood by acting playful and jumping around. During this playful moment, Pharma discovered a new ability, his divine eye. This power allowed him to detect physical ailments in others simply by observing them. Using this ability, Pharma scanned Ellen and noticed pain in her middle finger. Without hesitation, he approached her, took her hand and asked, "Is there something wrong with your finger?" Startled, Ellen demanded, "How do you know that?" However, Pharma still carried the dream of creating a medicine capable of curing all diseases. How would he achieve such an ambitious goal? And what kind of training would Ellen provide him here? Stay tuned to find out in the next part. Until then, goodbye and sayonara. In the meantime, feel free to enjoy the videos showing on the end screen.